Are live. How's it going, everyone? Today we have a couple special guests. Specifically, we're looking at Tiny Colony, who's building a pixelated metaverse on Solana. And the project is really unique because it boasts professional game development and looks to make a mark on the Web3 gaming landscape. So, luckily, today we have a handful of guests from the Tiny Colony team. And then we also have David from Fractal, their partner that helped them launch their NFT land sale. So, with that being said, let's get everyone in here and get into what you guys are waiting for.
Hello, hello.
How's it
Hello.
going, everyone?
Hello.
Great.
Awesome to have you guys on. I know Tiny Colony and Fractal are both no strangers to Solana news, so amazing to be on here with you guys. And really, just to kick things off, we can start with introductions and get through those real quick, just so everyone can have an idea of who you guys are and what you guys are doing.
Cool.
For sure. Yeah. Hi, my name is Arshia. I'm the CEO and creator and founder of Tiny Colony, also known as Bobby. Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having us.
Awesome.
Definitely. My name's Topher, the CMO of Tiny Colony. Really stoked to be on Solana News. You guys have done great things, and I love to see your community grow. And I'm really excited to be here with David as well. So yeah, thanks so much.
Of course.
For sure. My name is Trevor. I'm VP of Marketing at Tiny Colony, and we're super excited to be here, discuss some more things Tiny Colony, and provide our community with a little bit more information.
Awesome.
And I'm Mitch, Director of Operations, and thanks for having us here today.
And I'm David, CEO of Fractal. Thanks for having me. Excited.
Yep. It's amazing having you guys all on here. So, just to jump in for anyone, we'll get all the context out of the way just for people who may not be too sure. But do you want to touch on what Tiny Colony is and really the goal behind launching this game?
For sure. Yeah. So Tiny Colony is a pixelated ecosystem that's going to house multiple different types of game modes, a variety of NFT collections, and various types of events and experiences, all built on Solana. Our goal is to have the leading pixelated ecosystem in the metaverse called the Tinyverse that players can come on and play different types of games and enjoy the space, enjoy the metaverse, enjoy the pixelated ecosystem in so many different ways that they can interact with.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing, Arisha. I mean, I've been following you guys up to now as well, and just seeing the artwork is amazing. The whole pixelated concept fits in great. And then I love the idea of being able to construct and really participate in the Tinyverse. So looking forward
Absolutely.
to that, and we'll definitely probably get into a little more information on that.
For sure.
Just moving forward here of logical events, you guys obviously just had the land sale that you guys partnered with Fractal to do on their marketplace, and it went incredibly smooth. Do you want to touch on maybe some points about the land sale, but more so really what the point of the plots are in the Tinyverse?
Yeah. So it sounds like that's a two-part question there.
Yeah,
The first question was, what was the point of the land sale? And then the second part was, what is the functionality of the colonies? Is that right?
100%.
Yeah, totally. Now, so with the land sale going through Fractal, and releasing the colonies before the game is out, one, that's a good entry point for users to come in and be able to utilize and hold those colonies before the game comes out. We wanted to provide that early, for one, to help promote the game, but also to give people early access to it, right? And going through the partnership with Fractal was really important for us because their mission, their potential in the space, and what they're doing with their team is directly in line with Tiny Colony. And I think David can contest on that as well. But so what we really liked going through Fractal was the fact that they vet all their projects. I think that's really important in the space. I've said that before, and I think it should be well mentioned again, that they are bringing on projects that they see a lot of potential in, that they're familiar with the team, the mission, and the goals of the project to help launch them into the space. I think that's really important. So the functionality of the colonies We have 7 different colony types, ranging from nest all the way down to the higher level, which would be spirit. We did that launch through Fractal, which went really great, super smooth, a very great experience all around for our community, for their community, for both teams. So amazing job on that. But the functionality of those colonies is it allows users to have governance within the game. Staking for rewards is another one, as well as different bonuses and different types of NFTs associated with each colony, because again, they're different factions. So we have the samurai faction, the Viking, the Persian. So there's the different story lore, which I'll let Arshia get into that later, which he'll be excited to explain that. So there's different functionalities with the colonies, but different levels of functionality too. For instance, if you own a nest colony, your level of governance would be different than if you owned a spirit colony, right? So in your level of reward. So we wanted to make that known as well. So I hope that answered your question, Greg.
No, that was great. And I really like the idea. And as you touched on, how expansive the lore gets. So we'll definitely get into that a little bit more. And while we're still here on the topic of the land sale and the Fractal NFT launch, I really appreciate you coming on here, David. I know Fractal has a lot more things going on, but I think it was really relevant the role that Fractal played within the Tiny Colony launch, given all of the things going on with NFT launch pads and how smooth it went on Fractal's end. I'm curious what the team at Fractal had to take away from this and what it really meant moving forward for the launch pad, and just overall your guys' thoughts on the end at Fractal.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Greg. Yeah, I mean, we're really excited, first of all, because there's just this tidal wave of amazing games that are about to hit shore, and blockchain is a superpower for games, not only because the players can own the assets, but because there's new ways to incentivize and align incentives of players with the game studios like Tiny. So I'm just personally really excited. I can't sleep well anymore because I'm so excited by all the things I'm seeing. We're really privileged to be in a first row seat in this new movement, and we really believe at Fractal that the next Fortnite or Halo is going to be built on Web3 rails, and we're doing all we can to reduce the barrier to seeing that happen. The Launchpad is definitely a big part of that because obviously it takes a lot of capital to build a really great game. These are not your average PFP projects. So it's appropriate, we feel, to really kick the tires pretty hard on the partners, and it's particularly important given what we've seen in the Solana community recently, where really just any team can go and raise millions of dollars, and that's usually not a good setup for success. So now, admittedly, the Fractal underwriting process, if you will, or doxing process, doesn't scale, right? But it's something that we think is necessary to do right, and Tiny Colony was one of the teams we thought was doing the right stuff for the right reasons, and there's a lot more of this kind of stuff coming. So we're really excited. The launch went really smoothly, and that was a testament to the close collaboration that the Tiny team and the Fractal team had throughout and leading up to the Mint event. The general public sees a really smooth interface, and everyone got their whitelist tokens and everything, but actually behind the scenes there was an ongoing Google Hangout for probably maybe 10 hours straight. It takes a serious amount of attention to detail going into the launch, clear communication, making sure that everyone in the community is being listened to if they're confused or have concerns about what they're seeing, or maybe they're catching an error or a glitch. And then during the Mint, making sure we're responding to anything that's going off the rails or what people are maybe confusing. And the result of all of that effort on both the Tiny Colony side and the Fractal side was a really smooth Mint, and we're really super proud of that, but it is definitely a testament to the Tiny team just as much as it is the Fractal team.
Yeah, and I just want to jump in here as the user perspective. I was able to mint a couple, even on the Fractal Launchpad end, because I obviously have a couple Fractal NFTs as well. And it was just a very smooth process. And so overall, I think it's just a testament from my end to the work that both of you guys put in. I think that's great insight that you guys were on this Google Hangout for hours on end, making sure it went smoothly. So great to get a little insight there. And it's awesome. I know mints are always stressful. So when they are able to go smoothly and have success, it's always a great thing to hear. And so moving forward off that, I mean, the Mint was obviously a landmark event, but Q1 has been massive for you guys over at Tiny Colony, right? You had the token sale, you had the land sale, bunch of announcements came out. You guys were releasing the lore, all of that. But in my opinion, it seems like it's really just getting started. So I'm curious where you guys are at moving forward, game development wise, and what we can continue to expect even in the short term in Q1. So more so just like expecting how much more bang can users expect in Q1? Can it get much better?
For sure. I mean, it's been great to see the community grow on both Twitter and Discord, and we've really built a pretty special family here. Beyond just the community, our team's been growing too. We've gone from 4 or 5 people to I think around 40 now, with multiple studios on board, and it's been crazy. We've got some great plans coming up. We really want to be focusing on utility for colony holders. So secret airdrops all the way up to the next minting event that we have. We can't wait for the community to hear about details. We want to encourage holders to hodl, and we'll do so through whatever means necessary. So, and then also tiny packs. Any holders probably heard about tiny packs. So if you have a colony NFT, you're getting airdropped a tiny pack with in-game items, and some lucky holders will get some characters as well. We'll be having a characters NFT mint coming up as well. And then on the game side, teasers, gameplay over the next couple months. iLogos has been incredible so far, and our art team has continued to just grind day in and day out to put together some insane art that we've been teasing a little bit here and there on Twitter and Discord. If you cut our socials, you can see some of the NFTs, the character NFTs, but we've got a lot more. We've got pets, creatures, all sorts of crazy art coming out. On the Discord side, we're going to be revamping it pretty soon here. We want to provide our users with a better experience, easier navigation, a token system, games. We want it to be like a nice hangout for people who are interested in Tiny Colony, and then also our holders as well. And we want to provide information and also content behind the scenes about the team development. So yeah, if you're looking for any information about Tiny Colony, Discord's a place to be, about the game and about who we are. We're also going to be adding a job listing channel. So if you're looking to get into blockchain, gaming, NFTs, crypto, we're always looking to add. We're hiring, so check out Discord once again. Also sweeping the floor of these NFTs. So tons of giveaways coming soon across all of our socials, lots of contests. We're very excited. Very excited.
Yeah, that was a lot. And I think just to pick apart some notable things, the expansion of the team, that's amazing. Just seeing you guys grow, scale into the demand, and really getting ready to get this game out. And then also just the fact that there is a lot of benefits coming for holders. And then on the aspect of that character art, I mean, I was looking at some of it too. I think even one of our journalists, Enzo's, was saying how sweet the samurai was. So definitely a lot of excitement there, and just ready to see more of the art come out, more of these teasers. And I know you mentioned there a bit about the game studio you guys are partnered with, iLogos. So I'm curious if you guys can touch a bit more on that. I was reading one of your Medium posts, and you were outlining what the development process is looking at now. So it'd be great to hear from you guys specifically how this has been and the strategy behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Arshia, do you want to talk more about iLogos?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's been such an incredible experience with iLogos. I've mentioned this before, but I interviewed over 15 different studios all over the world before we chose to go with iLogos. And their track record, their management system, their talent within their art team was something that I hadn't seen before out of every other studio that I had looked into. So it's been an incredible experience working with them. They provided around 18 individuals, incredibly talented, that have joined the Tiny Colony team just as strictly the game production aspect. And with their art team mixing in with our art team, and the connection there with me working with their game designer every other day. We get on like lengthy calls talking about the mechanics, talking about how the cells are going to work, and designing everything. And then a day later, I get designs from their art team about what we talked about the day before. It's an incredible professional experience. It's a pleasure that I get to have the time and experience to work with them. And I couldn't feel more confident in our path, in their ability to deliver, and in our ability to work with each other as two big teams at this point. But we have meetings with them every other day, both art meetings, UI meetings, game mechanics meetings, game design meetings, and it's just turned into its own little beast. So the Tinyverse company, that's its own thing. The game is its own thing, and now we're starting early development for the TV show. So managing all these has been a pleasure on my end, and having the ability to have the team to support these efforts is another experience of its own. So it's all just incredibly positive to be able to tell this story in so many different ways, in so many different formats, and have the right people attached. Having Fractal on board for an incredibly smooth minting experience, having all the tiny team that I have the pleasure of working with, supporting the project and the vision on a daily basis, having iLogos supporting the game every single day. It's their main focus, pushing it forward every second. And the TV show by itself, that's like its own beast that we're just starting to develop now. I'm starting to talk to some anime studios. That's super exciting. But yeah, that experience with iLogos is nothing but incredible.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think that's something that's really important as we move forward. I think in the early stages of gaming on the blockchain, there are a lot of projects that just fumbled into it and really didn't understand what goes into game development. And so seeing projects like Tiny Colony really understand what needs to go with this, working with studios that have a track record, I think
For sure.
is massive. And it's not only that, I mean, I see you guys have a ton of other partnerships. So I think it would be just better for you guys to outline some of the most notable ones of those as well.
I am muted. No, I'm not. Here we go. I mean, with obviously partnering and collaborating with other companies in this space is super beneficial, especially when we were starting out. So I mean, our partnership with Fractal has been beyond like really anything we could have ever asked for. We're super fortunate and thankful to have partnered with such an incredible team. Launch, as we mentioned, was just super smooth. They have amazing UI and a good community over there as well. And so that was an incredible minting experience. And we're looking forward to many more mints with Fractal. So that partnership has been fantastic. Also, with iLogos, just professionalism at every turn. Just an incredible team over there as well. So we're super confident with where the game's headed and our ability to develop it in somewhat of a timely manner. And then, obviously, in the beginning, we had partnerships with investors. So GBV and Merit Circle have been great for us. Also, Danny from Alluvium has been good in an advisory role. And so we've been learning a lot, from the beginning up until now, how to build a team, how to set up a company for success, and especially in this industry. So all those partnerships have really formed kind of where we're at now. And, we're looking for many more.
Yeah. And I think that's amazing, Trevor, and just thought it would be best for you guys to touch on those there. And it's really exciting seeing what is coming out of Tiny Colony. And now to start to take somewhat of a step back. I mean, this is a pretty general question. The answer may not be too hard, but it's always fun to hear from teams. What postured you guys specifically for Solana? Was it even a thought of building anywhere else, or was it just that obvious to start building on Solana?
I think David David, can you tell us why Fractal went with Solana? I think that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So Solana was the first blockchain that I was excited to build a consumer experience on top of. I've been following crypto for maybe 3 years or so, and I love Ethereum. I'm a heavy investor in Ethereum personally, and I love the community, but I never felt it was ready for prime time. And I've also been following Solana since the very start. I was fortunate enough to get into their seed round through Multicoin Capital. And so I got the investment memo back in 2018 about the tech, and it seemed really interesting. They actually applied the same technology that's used to coordinate cell towers, like mobile cell towers, to the blockchain. So the proof of history concept is actually one that's already proven in another vertical. The Multicoin guys, which I'm an LP in Multicoin, they kicked the tires pretty hard on Solana from the very start, and I knew to pay attention early. But Solana was nothing but a white paper until maybe a year ago, when it started to be clear that this was actually something that was going to work, and there was community growing. And then we had Solana Summer, and we started seeing a ridiculous inflow of developers, and usually that's a leading indicator of where an industry is headed. So Solana has been an incredible story of like tremendous growth. The tech is standing up to its massive growth. We have amazing applications like the Phantom Wallet, which really ups the bar for user experience design, which I think is critical for crypto. Not to say that there's not other good blockchains out there. There are other solutions, but Solana was the first one that got me really excited. And Fractal's probably not going to be Solana only for very long. So we're not diehard Solana, but we definitely think that it's the one to make a big difference to the perception that crypto is not yet ready.
Yeah, that's awesome, David. I always love hearing insight for people who were really participating in Solana when it was just a white paper from the beginning in the seed round. So appreciate that insight is there. And then I'm curious if anyone from the Tiny Colony team wants to add on to that. Don't want to beat a dead horse here, but if there's anything else to add there.
Yeah, no, I think everything David said is in line with what we think. And one thing for us is we don't want someone to have to go spend hundreds of dollars on gas and then turn around and have to, wait so long to get their NFT. And like I said, pay a lot of money in gas. You want someone to be able to buy quick and get it over into the game quick and have fun, not worry about the other side of things.
Yeah. And I mean, that's one of like the most fundamental things that's friction, and it's important to reduce that as much as possible. So it's just very logical to have it on Solana, especially at this point in time. And like David said, it's not like other blockchains can't do it, but it's just how well poised Solana is, and also the amount of steam specifically that Web3 gaming has picked up. So I think that's very exciting in general. And on the aspect of reducing friction, making it easy to use for people, community is obviously massive in blockchain as a whole, but then you like zoom into gaming and it really is community that makes up the entire thing. So I'm curious, what at Tiny Colony are you guys doing to build the community? And then maybe we can tack on a second part question. I love doing these. Are there anything notable that you guys have seen from the community that makes you guys confident in them?
Yeah, I mean, we are fully community focused. It's community comes first. Holders come first. It's especially in crypto when you have people, basically investing in your project. The players are invested, and so you got to have their interest at mind first things first. So what we've been doing is we're trying to set up Discord community that has information, entertainment, and ways for you to get involved in the project for free. So that whether that's leveling up for a giveaway, or whether that's invite contests to get pre-sale spots to buy to mint. We're always trying to give back to the community to get them in the door. Some people might not want to spend a couple $100 to get involved with the game when the game's not out yet. But we're trying to kind of break down that entry, get them in the door, and then provide them with information about the game, about the team, how we work here, what our vision is, and then hopefully get them to stay. And we've got fantastic moderators in our Discord, and it really feels like a true like community in there. So it's all about Discord, and obviously with Twitter, we're basically we're trying to grow our Twitter presence as well. But at the end of the day, Discord is really the heart of the community here, and it comes through information, entertainment, and then obviously financially rewarding people for being there every day, being a part of the community.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah, just to follow up with what Trevor said, the Tiny Colony, we understand that we're building this project, we're building this game, we're bringing on great partnerships like Fractal and Merit Circle and GBV and some other guilds. And the most important thing is that we want our community to be first. And we fully 100% understand the value of a great community and how important that is to any project. And one of the really important things is listening to the community and understanding where the community wants the game to go and listening to how they can be involved with development, hence why we want the governance capabilities of the colonies. And that allows the community to have a voice, and we think that's really important. So just to kind of expand on what Trevor was saying, community engagement and community involvement to be part of this project is paramount, absolutely.
100%. And just on my end, something I've noticed from the outside is even just the attention you guys have put into the lore. So I want to poke into this a little bit. I mean, I don't think we need to go and break the entire thing down here. You guys obviously put this all out on your Medium on for a reason. But I'm curious if you guys could just touch on maybe the biggest and most fundamental points of the lore and why you think it's valuable and how you shaped it that way. Really, what is the lore and what was the point behind it?
For sure. Obviously, my background is in film. Storytelling is I would say my expertise, and putting a team together around this story, around this lore, has been an awesome experience. But to tell you a bit about the lore, I didn't want to have the game be about nothing. I didn't want to have the NFTs not linked to anything. I didn't want, obviously there being a TV show, an anime TV series that we had previously discussed and previously thought about, we wanted all these to be linked together. I want to tell one story. There's the story of these tiny spirits coming down to the underground, and all these kingdoms of ants kind of treating this new energy, new entity differently. And obviously there's, we have a couple of Medium articles out, but we have something exciting really coming up within our new website that's going to go deeper into the lore of each faction and how everything came to be. But obviously, we have this massive lore document. It's up to 80 pages now of just full-on content and full-on stories of the Tinyverse within each faction, different characters and how they come into play in each different medium. So obviously the NFTs themselves will be telling their own story. And all of them will link into the characters within the game. Within the game itself, all the quests will be built from this lore. And so all of them will link together in that way as well. All of the factions will have their own types of quests. And so, every faction, they're working towards something very specific. And then once we get to the anime TV series, people have the NFTs out. There's the game that they can play. And then the anime is going to tell the full story of the Tinyverse and connect everything that we've done up until that point together and tell this beautiful waterfall of a story that kind of goes into each other. And what I'm most excited for is having the anime come out and people realizing how it's going to affect the economy of the game and the value of the NFTs. I think, to me, that's one of the most interesting aspects of it, because I'm really curious how that's going to work, because that hasn't been done before. And linking all these mediums together and connecting the platforms is just a very exciting thing to do. In terms of the lore writing itself, that's its own department. We have a lead writer, Simon Ryder. He's an incredible industry level writer that I've worked with in the past. And he's been full time just like writing all just so much lore. Him and I have sessions every night going over what he's written, and I'm just so excited to tell the story. I'm excited for people to see the difference between Tiny Colony and other types of blockchain games, and how we're really leaning into the storytelling aspect of it. And I think eliciting emotion and connecting everything in that format is not only the best tool to use to bring people together, but it's also an incredible tool to use to create a brand and a franchise that is here to stay. Because if it's just a game or if it's just an NFT collection series, people can forget about it in some time. And we want, there's a certain level of interaction within Tiny Colony that I haven't seen before, whether it be the choice within the NFTs, whether it be the different types of game modes that you can play, the different types of events and experiences that you can have, and jumping into the TV show and watching how that affects everything. I think that is the most exciting aspect of it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's a few key points there. The idea of storytelling and bringing it all together, having a brand more than just a game.
Yeah.
These are things that I've seen in more successful traditional games. It's not like you just
For sure.
pop out a game, and it ties back to really the entire concepts we've been hitting at during this entire stream. The fact of bringing the community together, but also understanding that just because you smack blockchain or Web3 gaming in front of something doesn't mean it's the next greatest thing. You actually
Exactly.
have to put in the work, see what has traditionally worked, and then looking how to leverage that and then utilize the blockchain. But it still comes down to the fact that you need to create a brand. It needs to be fun and it needs to be professionally built. So I
That's the
think between
focus.
all of those things, yeah, we're seeing that wrapped into one here. So I think that's overall great to see. And even just expanding this up more as being pioneers in the Web3 gaming space, in gaming on the blockchain, where do you guys see this going in the future? What's your general outlook on gaming?
You're muted though.
Of course, I'm muted. Yeah, for Web3 gaming, I think we're right at the cusp of big expansion. I mean, we see a lot of development in this space, right? We see a lot of projects coming in and saying, okay, look, we could utilize this new technology to help scale our platforms, or even bring in new different experiences for people. Is what we're seeing. It feels like we're at the beginning of, to me, it feels like we're at the beginning of something huge. And you see these great projects saying, okay, how can we utilize the scalability, the speeds from Web3, the user engagement and things like that through Web3 based projects? I think, we're directly in line with all of that expansion into this space. And you have big players coming in too. And they're recognizing like, okay, look, this is big. And I think that's amazing. And it feels that way. I'm sure you probably would agree, Greg. Like, it's over the last few months, we've seen the last 6 months, 8 months, we've seen this just rapid expansion of all these different projects coming up with these great concepts and then utilizing them and taking advantage of that. And I think that's amazing. So in the space, as far as gaming goes, to utilize that scalability with Web3, but also, being flexible with other aspects. So we do see a lot of games are mobile-based games. We do see that is very popular, and a percentage of that is very high. But we also have to realize that the Web3 is also scalable, whereas maybe mobile games have their certain limitations. We know that, right? And so you have to have a balance between all those factors. And I think that's what we're recognizing now with a lot of projects. Here at Tiny Colony, we see all those things and we consider all those things too, to make sure that we build a platform that is centered around a user engagement, and at the same time has that balance of that play and earn style, where they come into the game, they're able to experience the game how we see it and what we're building, and not have any barriers. So, as far as Web3 being free to play, that's very important to recognize, that any user can come in and play Tiny Colony. and you don't necessarily have to own a colony NFT or a character NFT to start to be able to play. However, to have the full engagement in all those rich experiences and to experience the lore and the different factions and all those things in the story, it's definitely recommended to be able to do that, to have the full user engagement. Being Web3 based allows us to do that. That's the thing. So
Yeah,
that's where I see it going.
that's amazing, Topher. And I agree on that as well. Just seeing everything coalesce into one, and even just coming from gaming growing up, like a lot of these values that we're seeing that are driven in this space are things that aren't too far off from traditional gaming. And I think it's just a lot of it is as more users start to come in, as actual and robust games start to be built out, it'll be a no brainer for a lot of gamers to come in. Things like buying skins on CSGO. We're already seeing people value these in-game items a lot. So being able to have transferable value, not have to go on forums and digging through random things to try to sell or buy items, and just having it much more open and transferable, the parallels are already there. It's more of a matter of just building well at this point, and I think the most of the users will continue to bridge over. And
Yeah.
so yeah, 100%. So that's like my take on that there. And really starting to wrap this up here and tie it back into Tiny Colony. I'm curious, what are some things that you're excited for in the short term and in the long term in the focus of what you guys are building?
Yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. There's a lot that we're building. I think, something short term that I'm really excited about is treating the holders, airdropping airdropping NFTs to the holders that they're not necessarily expecting right now. And, we're it's going to be a surprise, and we'll obviously announce it in time, but we really want this to kind of, we want the colony holders to understand why we will treat them for the long term. Not just that, we also have our character NFTs coming up. And something that I'm really excited about is to see the reaction of our community to the characters, because as you know, a lot of programmatically generated collections have one plate, so one body, and there's multiple assets on top. We have 54 different plates of characters, and each of them have multiple assets. So, and that adds up to a certain number of NFTs within the collection. But similar to the colony sale, the way the fractal UI will be built is, there will be multiple factions, and then you will randomize a rarity within that once you mint. So we haven't announced this, we haven't mentioned this. This is the first time we're talking about it. But yeah, I'm really excited for the community to see all these incredible characters and understand the level of work that has gone into creating these characters, because Zach, our lead artist, has been, drawing assets for 12 hours a day for the past month, and they're all incredible, just top quality. And I'm super proud of him and his ability to tell the story through these assets, because it's not an easy thing to do. And rolling out that collection, I think, is going to change the game for Tiny Colony, because it's going to show how the lengths that we're willing to go to be a completely different game, be a completely different blockchain experience for the users and for the community. And for the long term, obviously rolling out the game. And I personally try to be kind of protective of some of the game assets that we want to leak and that we want to showcase. But after the colony sale, I told the guys that we're gonna start doing that now. So I'm really excited about showing different game mechanics, different cells, different characters, character movements, building mechanics, all of that over the next month. Our community should expect that for sure. And obviously, something that I have a bias towards and I'm super excited about is the anime series itself. Being, my background being in film and being a storyteller, that's something that I cannot wait to sink my teeth into. And I'm starting to begin the development stages of getting the crew on that side together, because as I mentioned, the company is its own beast, the game is its own beast, and then there's the anime. So running all these three machines is is a pleasure, is a hell of an experience, I gotta say. But having a team like the guys you see on the screen here, it makes it even better. It makes every day worth it. It makes the push enjoyable, and it makes the entire journey worth it. So I'm really excited to show the community what we've been working on, what we have in the works for later on. We obviously have a crazy roadmap with so many things that we want to achieve, but and we are not one to not understand the level of resources that we need to be able to achieve the certain tasks that we want to achieve. So we are going under a second level of expansion. So last month we were 4 people. This month we're 40. I'm curious to see where we're at, next month. So we're growing rapidly. We have a lot to say. We have a lot to show. We have a lot of different content coming out in so many different mediums. And we're just excited to see the community react to all that.
100%. And I think this space is moving so quick. And one of the things the community is most hungry for is seeing more of these in-game assets and trailers
sure.
leaked. And it sounds like you guys are getting ready to do that. So I think that's when things will really pick up pace. I mean, even here, I've had someone ask me at Mountain Dow, they're like, oh, when are there going to be more assets? When are there going to be more trailers? So I know the community has definitely built up some hype for that, and
For
really
sure.
excited overall. And that really wraps up everything I had to ask. So, Arisha, Topher, Mitch, and Trevor, like, it was great having you guys on. And there's definitely a lot more developments coming out. This won't be the last time we spoke. I know you guys had a Twitter Spaces AMA with Tom as well. And it's just great watching this develop and see the beast that this brand and game and TV series is turning into. So, I know there's a lot left to do, but I don't know if you guys have anything else. But other than that, that wraps it up for me.
Yeah. Thank you so much, first of all, for having us and for the support and everything that we're doing. Where we try to keep everything like Trevor was saying earlier. We want the community to be involved. We want to be transparent, and we want to make sure that they're building this with us. And just kind of on a side note, some things that are mentioned are rewarding those early NFT holders. And how do we reward our community for being there with us and growing with us? And again, upcoming airdrops, and there could be whitelist spots for holders for future minting, discounts for minting, and things like that. So those are the things that we're working on. And another way we support our community is the last week we announced that we're sweeping the floor, and we're taking our royalties from the trades from the colonies and using that to give back to the community. And so sweeping the floor and then providing those colonies back to the community, not reselling them, not relisting them, but giving them back, I think is also another way. So there's lots of ways that we're going to support our holders and our colony holders. That's what we're doing. And Trevor, I love your cat.
Dave wants to say hi.
That's
But yeah,
awesome.
there's lots of ways that we're doing that. So to kind of address, those are some of the questions we see people post these on Twitter, and those that are watching this live stream now. So we hear you, and that there's a lot of things coming and a lot of things that we're working on. So, but we definitely appreciate the support from Solana News, the support from our projects and our community, certainly.
Yeah, it's amazing having you guys on. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, thank you everyone for joining, and we'll be following you guys closely. Excited to see more updates coming out.
Thanks for having
Cool.
us.
Yep.
Thank you so much for having us, Greg.
Yep.
Bye.
Peace. Awesome. So I'm not going to spend too long wrapping this up here. We just had about a 45-minute discussion going over everything Tiny Colony. I know someone was asking for some more juicy questions. I think we got a decent amount of info there, just overall a holistic view of what Tiny Colony is building, the direction they're heading, and how they're aiming to do it. I think a few notable things is just the focus on community, really the fact that they do have a traditional game studio coming on and building out the game. And then I really like the idea that they're looking to build an entire brand. This isn't just something where they're stumbling into the gaming space, smacking Web3 in front of it, in trying to build something innovative. They're taking the best of both worlds and really making sure they can drive it forward. And I think a big thing to be looking out for is, as more of these in-game assets and as we start to see the game develop more and more, I think a massive piece is the team was much smaller over the past couple months, and now they've exponentially grown in size. So hopefully what we can expect to see from that is more and more releases coming out. So in general, super excited. And for everyone tuned in here, I would say retweet the Periscope if you're on Twitter, subscribe if you're on YouTube, and drop any questions in the comments, and we'll be sure to get to those. So thank you everyone for tuning in. And until next time,